It's Gorman in the Morning with Fletcher and Ryder. Now, 92 KQRS.
Gorman in the Morning on Minnesota's 92 KQRS. Good Tuesday morning. It's wet. Go back to bed.
I couldn't agree more.
Fletcher, good morning, sir. Ryder, good morning.
It's beginning to look like I'm not going to get the Tonight Show.
Okay. Good to know.
It was 10 years ago today, Letterman's last show.
Really?
I know. I'm like, 10 years already? It
Wow.
feels like it was just a little bit ago.
Yeah, it
Holy smokes. I thought he was old 10 years ago. I mean, he's doing great. I mean, now with the giant beard, he looks like, but
I
man.
love the big, huge beard.
Yeah, I do too. 10 years. Wow. That
Holy
is
moly.
astounding. That means it's 40-something since he started that bad boy at late at night.
Yeah.
I was, 11th grade? I was like, guess I got to stay up late now. Mm-hmm. Kind of a life-changing moment when he got on that the late show right there. It is May the 20th, and right now, let's just get on to it. I'm feeling Minnesota. Paul Fletcher, what's happening in the world?
Minnesotans love White Castle. It's official. The fast food chain, known for its iconic sliders, recently inducted 14 devoted fans into their Cravers Hall of Fame at a ceremony in Columbus, Ohio.
Wait, what?
Yep.
The Cravers Hall of Fame.
You betcha.
yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
you betcha. 5 of those 14 are from Minnesota.
Nice.
The ceremony has been held each year since 2001 to recognize its most zealous fans. Among the inductees are Don Graffam of Shoreview, who said, quote, many of his fondest memories involve White Castle. Sean Rooker of St. Paul, who has been instrumental in making White Castle a staple of his office's weekly lunches.
Wow.
And the final 3 are Minneapolis brothers Gary and Denny Schwartz and their friend Steve Upman of Plymouth. They started an annual tradition, a slider eating competition they dub the White Castle Eating Derby. It takes place every Saturday before Thanksgiving since 1967.
Good God. I got 2 words for you. Nag Champa.
Can you
Bring it, light it, use it.
Like, I have good friends, childhood friends. Think of, like, having that, an event like that since 1967 every year with the same people.
That's
kind
pretty
of
great.
cool, actually.
Impressive.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
That's great.
Minnesota state lawmakers worked through last weekend to finalize key bills before the end of the legislative session. Bills passed include funding for law enforcement, a new felony offense for exposing a child to fentanyl. That makes sense. Stiffer penalties for DWIs, and funding for the Twin Cities to Duluth rail service was blown up. Governor Tim Walz is expected to call a special session to complete work on a 2-year budget agreement.
Okay.
Yeah.
They started late. They should have to stay after class. I'm looking at both sides here.
Yeah.
There you go.
100% agree with you on that. Guns N' Roses released a video featuring Axl Rose falling over on stage, compiling 14 instances of himself taking a tumble. Have you seen this yet?
No, I have not.
I haven't either. It kind of blows my mind. Axl's approval of the video release is quite obviously aimed at publicizing their ongoing tour, which started in South Korea. I mean, it's the only way that this makes sense, right? I mean, this does not align with Axl's
General lack of a joie de vivre? Yeah. Yeah, I'd say so. I'm happy to watch Axl fall, and now that I am, I'm even happier. Sure.
Axl has fallen by the statistics on this, by the way. Of course, there are, right? In this day and age. He's fallen over 1.2. He's fallen at 1.28% of the band's performances, a higher rate compared to other frontmen.
I would think so. You know, a lot of frontmen who've had very long careers would tell you they fell once, and then they made damn sure not to do it again. I don't know. That's a lot of pluck he's showing right there.
Well, and you know what? It's like humble of him to do that, make fun of himself. That doesn't align with his character over the decades.
There's a self-awareness there, I think, subconsciously, that he knows a lot of the people coming to see us want to see me look like an idiot. They want to see me. They want to see me go down. They want to feel better about their night. So I'm going to give it to him. So I guess at the end of the day, he's just he's
Ultimate performer.
Give the people what they want.
He's an everyman.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, right. Tom Cruise, speaking of everymen, is releasing his 8th Mission Impossible film, and he plans to keep making movies for a long time. Cruise has kept that franchise going for 30 years now. It's kind of hard to believe that. Talking about Letterman, it's crazy that there's been 30 years of Mission Impossibles. And he is also planning to extend some of his other franchise films, like Top Gun. When asked whether the actor who does all of his own stunts, we probably knew that, will retire at some point, he noted, quote, I said I'm going to make movies into my 80s. Actually, I'm going to make them into my 100s. He made the statement at the latest Mission Impossible premiere and added, "I will never stop. I will never stop doing action. I will never stop doing drama, comedy films. I'm excited." I felt like I delivered that like Tom Cruise would have said it.
They're gonna, that company that's trying to reanimate dinosaurs. It's gonna come out that he's got like dinosaur DNA in him or something totally bizarre,
spliced with a woolly mammoth.
Yeah. There's definitely some old school DNA going on there.
Are you guys excited for what he said he wants to do next?
No, but tell
musicals.
Me. Oh, for God's sake!
He said he wants to do a musical next.
Okay, all right. Wasn't he already in some rock star thing? He made a movie of a Broadway play called. Was it called Rockstar?
Was it the Def Leppard one?
Something. It was a bunch of. It was a bunch of those kind of songs. They were like. The Rock of Ages. That's what it was called.
Oh yeah, that was him.
Journey, Bon Jovi, Def Leppard, all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, Cruise with the tattooed rocker. That's one character he was not born to play.
He was really good, though, in Tropic Thunder as, like, the sleazy executive.
Tremendous in Tropic Thunder. Shockingly great in that.
That was
in that
Les
piece.
Grossman, wasn't it?
Yeah, there you go.
He peaked there and should have called it quits then. I'm real big at going out on top.
I like that. Yeah, that's why you were never into boxing.
Wasn't he wearing, like, a muscle suit underneath that? Or he was puffier. It wasn't.
He was definitely wearing a fat suit or something.
Something, yeah. Oh, my God. That's one of the most brilliant pieces of film he's ever done.
Yeah, it was great. We ready for some sports?
Yeah, let's do it.
How about this? The Minnesota Twins last night hosting the Cleveland Guardians. Finally, a really good baseball team came to town. Let's see how we do. We won't know until today. The rain out ultimately put the end of yesterday's game into today. If there was one highlight for the game, it's that Carson McCusker, who was called up from the Saints on Sunday, this kid is 6'8", 250, and he's just been launching comets for the Saints all season.
All right.
Let's see what he's batting .350 with 10 homers and 36 ribbies in 38 games. He was called up Sunday to Milwaukee. First game as a Twin at home. In his first at bat, he lost the bat. He swung at a ball and let go of the bat, and it landed in left field.
Oh.
Well, I'm glad it landed there.
It was way over. The shortstop didn't even budge. It was like so far over his head. It was like, holy crap. We have a Yeti on the Minnesota Twins now named Carson McCuskers. Go watch him. And if he had hit a ball with that bat, the ball would still be flying.
Well, and thank God he didn't let it go into the 10th row by accident. That would have been awful.
It was. It's worth tracking down if you can find it. The Timberwolves kick off tonight the Western Conference Finals, 7:30. The ball will go up. Oklahoma City, 68-14 in the regular season. They won 54 of those games by double digits. That's their personal record. They also outscored their opposition throughout the season by 12.9. Let's call it 13 points a game. That's the highest in league history. This is a badass ball club. By the way, they started the season with the NBA's youngest roster, and they're the best team in the league. The West is going to be hard for a long time. Let's see if we can get them now, because they're only going to get better next year.
Okay.
But 7:30, we'll see what happens. Quick Olympic note. For some reason, the Olympics have decided to allow flag football into the competition for the 28 Summer Games.
No pros on the
Gee, I wonder who's going to win that one. Okay. But the NFL is going to vote this week to allow players to participate.
Okay.
NFL players in Olympic flag football. Why don't we, you know what we should just do instead?
I don't know, like watch paint dry?
Yeah, the American flag football team will win regardless. Why would you let NFL players go out there just to, would we win gold, bronze, and silver? Would we have 3 teams?
Maybe I'm overlooking this, but like put good high school players out there, and they're probably going to beat the rest of the world.
There's no question. I was going to say college. Get D2, get MAC conference college players. You'll be fine.
I thought they were going to put recently retired NFL players out there and still wipe the floor with everybody.
That's what they should do for team handball. Just get retired pitchers and quarterbacks. Teach them how to play team handball. And watch Bulgaria sweat. You know what I mean?
Well, we had that stupid football commercial like last year. I think it was Emmett and Randy Moss and these guys all saying, and Dan Marino like talking about going back and playing. Yeah, let's do that. Put them in the Olympics. I'd watch that.
I would watch that as well. By the way, back to the NBA real quick. In the Eastern Conference, the Knicks and the Pacers are going at it, but we really don't care because neither one of those teams is going to beat either Minnesota or OKC.
All right, then.
There you have it.
Fair enough.
Hey, Chanhassen, we're thinking of you. Happy to have the good people of Chanhassen with us on the show this morning.
We just call him Chan.
Do we?
Yeah, just call him Chan. I mean, for the purposes of this, of what we're doing right now, yeah Chanhassen.
Saturday morning cartoon when I was a kid, The Amazing Chan and the Chan Clan. Look it up. Oh, yeah.
Right.
It was a Charlie Chan animated series, The Detective.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. That was fantastic. Hey, listen, let's talk serious thing here, guys. Petrified wood, come on, it happens to the best of us.
Well, it's very important to me.
Yeah, I mean, if you have petrified wood, you're going to need a little bit more than a blue pill. Trust me when I say that. I mean, we've got to take this problem. We got to get both hands around it and deal with it now. I'm not talking about petrified wood. Listen, get your mind out of the gutter. The National Park Service is got a bit of a crisis right now. In fact, the president and CEO of the National Park Service said that the budget cuts recently handed down are the most extreme, unrealistic, and destructive ever. Nothing less than an all-out assault on our national parks. It's a bit of a problem. One national park, a very famous one in Arizona, the Petrified Forest National Park, they're taking matters into their own hands.
Well, here we go.
I see what you did there.
Do you suffer from chronic lack of wood? Are you plagued by the unbearable burden of having seen logs that are way too soft? Well, suffer no more. Here at Petrified Forest National Park, we specialize in rock-hard ancient wood that's been stiff for over 200 million years. That's right. We'll take that flimsy, flaccid feeling and turn it into a rock-solid experience that's guaranteed to petrify your senses. Visit Petrified Forest, where our wood is always hard and never lacking. And remember, if your life's a little soft, we'll get you rock hard.
And, of course, the video accompanying that, there are clips of Megan Thee Stallion perking occasionally on these videos, just to make sure everyone's paying attention. You can help out our National Park Service. You can pick up an annual park pass at Petrified National Forest for $80.
Okay.
They're saying, look, spend $80, come in as often as you like, maybe volunteer, help out. The national parks are, I mean, it really is a scary thing to think like, wow, we're going to just not fund the parks anymore?
Well, good job on them for going viral and getting creative.
That's exactly
so I think there's a couple of good National Park Service social media accounts. We need to get on our game and start writing something dirty for the boundary waters. So,
I think that's probably a great idea.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. This is just endless water.
Establish your own boundaries and then ignore them at night. Whatever. We'll come up with something.
Time to get wet.
Endless wetness. I was just going to say,
It's really just that simple, isn't it?
It really is.
Oh, fair enough. Hey, got any weird rules that you live by that you have to put into your life? Like something you came up with as a kid, maybe even, and you just never shook it. It's like it could be anything, big or small, that just gets you to the next moment in your life, but you have to abide. Like, say, I, as a very young child, my mom told me once, she said, honey, when you take your socks off at the end of the day, and she showed me, she goes, I just always like to run my finger in between my toes to get any lint out of there, and it just feels nice. She just said this once. She said, and she just took her index finger and in between each toe, she just kind of rubbed her foot there. She goes, it feels nice. And I was like, okay. And I never take socks off without doing that. I can't stop. I've done it my whole life.
You're a 60-year-old man.
And in fact, I said it to my mom. I said it to my mom once many years later, and she goes, what are you talking about? I go, you told me.
Yeah.
I thought everybody did that. She was like, oh, I might have done it that one time. And I go, you acted like that was a way to live. And so I have taken off socks many times without doing it, but I'm always aware that I didn't do it. I'm serious. Like, and if I don't even notice it, I'll wake up the next day and go, hey, I didn't do that. And then I'll make myself not. But more often than not, if I'm just being me, oh, yeah, right there. Right in between the toes.
I do this as well, actually.
Really?
Yeah. And my 12-year-old does it. She actually goes through, and it's like she's cleaning. I mean, she splits the toes. I mean, it's crazy.
Atta girl.
The other thing I do is, and I don't always put socks and shoes on together. But if we're going somewhere and I've got to put, and I don't, and I've got bare feet and I do the socks and shoes at the same time, I don't know why. It always has to be sock, shoe, sock, shoe.
You put a shoe
I put
over
the right
sock before you put the other sock on.
Yes.
Now that's awful. That makes no sense whatsoever.
It's just the way it goes. I don't know.
What happens if a fire alarm goes off and you got to flee the building? You're barefoot on one, you got a shock and a shoe on the other.
I think probably in those circumstances I'll live.
Yeah, that's not
I'll
the way
just
to
hop.
Yeah, well, but everyone's going to know.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's the kind of thing.
And I'm willing to live with this.
Ryder, anything?
I don't know if these qualify, but I do have a couple of what me and my friends call rider rules, and that's when you're drinking happy hour after work. The first beer, you can talk about work-related things, and then the second beer, it needs to be on to other conversation.
I like
more
that.
work talk. That's actually a really good one. And then the other one is if we're playing darts and I throw the darts so far off the board it doesn't even stick, I get to rethrow, no penalty.
Well, of course. That's just good old fashioned. I'm doing it my way. Yeah. Who's going to argue with you on that one?
That is harboring mediocrity.
If somebody throws a dart at a board and doesn't even hit the board and then it ends up on the floor, I'm happy to give them another one. Go for it.
Yeah.
What's the heart? You're not gonna suddenly throw a triple 20 now because you missed the first one. It's not a threat.
That hasn't happened yet. When it does, we'll probably need to revisit that rider rule.
You also have to eat all the Captain Crunches out of the bowl before you get to the Crunch Berries.
Oh, what? That's not life. That's a
What is
prison.
it then?
That's a prison term.
How is it prison?
You just the magic is in the mixture.
I eat the way I eat.
The magic is in the Crunch Berry and the Captain Crunch
Fair.
together.
Every
in the
now and
same
then
bite.
a berry will make its way in, but
651-989-ROCK is the number if you have a weird rule that you still abide by. Another shoe-related rule that I do this, if I retie one shoe, I retie the other one. Always. I've always done that.
What?
Like, if one shoe's weird and you got to retie, it's like a little loose, I immediately then want to redo the other one to get a better match.
What happens if the building's on fire and you got to run out with both shoes untied because you untied the other one?
No, then nobody thinks twice about it because who's looking at my shoelaces? They don't notice that I have a bare foot.
The building's on fire.
Yeah.
So you untie a perfectly tied shoe and retie it.
It's not perfectly tied anymore. Well, unless if let's say the left shoe is just going about its business, no worries. The right shoe, I realize I got to retie that shoe. I go down and retie it. I will attempt. I'm not making this up. In my brain, I'm like, I feel what the left shoe feels like, and I try to match it. I want them to be the same tightness, the same whatever. And if not, then I'll go back and redo the other one, too. I want them to be very similarly tied.
What if that left shoe is just like the perfect tie, though?
Yeah,
Do you just leave it then?
Well, I'm gonna.
Are you gonna adjust it?
No, I'm gonna make sure. I will. No, I will. If it's perfect, I will retie the right to match. I will just do that as long as it takes.
Okay.
I'm not proud. This is just how I go about my day.
Do all drummers function like this? Is this part of being a drummer?
There's some real
counting and keeping time and evenness.
If it's not OCD, we're bumping right up against it on some of this stuff. And
almost
with drummers,
all of it is.
I think I'm a good drummer because I was so OCD for so many years. It was just unbearable to ever not come out on the one. I had to be in time, and I have knocked back 99% of my OCD tendencies. Just nothing a nervous breakdown won't help.
Right.
But for the most part, yeah, it's just that the drummers thing. Drummers got some weird. There's some weird quirks. Make no mistake about it. 651-989-ROCK. We're talking about weird personal rules we have. And yes, we do cross the line into OCD with a few of these. But there's things that we've been doing a long time. But here's a great one. Jill texted in public restrooms with the enclosed large rolls of toilet paper, my mother taught me to leave some toilet paper hanging down to make it easier for the next person. I still do that today. Yes. See, I dig that.
10 out of 10, Jill, especially in the women's restroom. Then I don't have to go in and spend a lot of time checking if it has toilet paper or not. You just know at first glance.
That's just observing the social contract by Jill.
Man, that's
you
really
know what I mean?
good.
Of being decent to other people. That's all that is.
Yeah, it's
well
really
done,
good.
Jill.
We should all remember that one. Sarah texted in, everything has to be an even number. Whether it is the volume on the radio or TV, the temperature, how many M&Ms to eat, never a 1, 3, or 5, etc.
That's definitely an OCD thing right there.
I was in the car with my nephew a couple years ago, and it was his car, and he kept turning up and down depending on if he wanted to hear the song. And he just kind of looked at me and he goes, "Is it weird that I can only have the volume be on even numbers?" And I was like, "Dude, if that's your weird quirk, you're doing okay in this world." Because I had so many of those things for so many years, and I did get rid of most of them. But man, yeah, no. If you get stuck in that number stuff, I spent years. I always, if I stepped on a staircase, I immediately, in the blink of an eye, I could look at the staircase and tell you which foot I would hit the top landing on. I just knew left or right.
Damn.
And I had to hit the top on the left, so I would skip a step if need be. And I didn't think about it. It was like instant, just calculation, bang. And, and of course, I would mention that to someone every now and again, and they would just look at me like I had green hair. Like, sorry, I won't tell you anything more about myself.
I think it's even more astonishing that you were able to get rid of most all of these than like even that one thing is.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. That doesn't happen to most people.
Long story very short. I had a full-fledged, complete mental break.
Right.
And boy, it was the best thing that ever happened to me because I was keeping a lot in.
Yeah.
Take the lid off the crock pot every now and again and let it all fly. And then all of a sudden you're like, hey, I don't have to count my syllables when I speak anymore. This is great. I'm free at last.
Volcano Gorman finally erupted.
That's it. How about this one? Never use a fake excuse like, oh, I can't go. My mom's sick. Because if she does get sick, then you feel like you caused it. You ever have any of those little weird, quirky things you think about? That all goes back to...
Only about sports.
Sure. Well, we've all got those.
I use those more than I care to admit.
Yeah.
And it all stems from anxiety. Like anxiety or just like I don't want to go do this social thing that I said I was going to. I know people probably listening hear people like us say this. They think, what are you talking about? You guys are social butterflies. No, most of us are introverts. That's why we're in a studio looking at each other and not on TV or whatever, right? And so, yeah, I'll have that happen where like anxiety gets the best of me, and I look for any excuse I can come up with to get out of go and do whatever I was going to go do.
Well, I think anybody understands the whole. Nothing feels better at a certain point in life than a canceled plan. You're just like, it doesn't matter what the plan is, too. It could be something you're looking forward to. It's like,
but then using those excuses that you just said, it's like it's not a good idea. It's not a good habit to get into.
All right, last one. Same number of swipes for the armpit with deodorant. If you're using a stick, do you ever notice it?
No, don't care.
Yes. It's always 3.
It's 3?
Oh.
Yeah.
Just efficient swipes. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, very good. 651-989 Rock.
When we started talking about this, though, I went and checked out a couple of lists, and one that I forgot that I do, and I've actually mentioned it in the last week or two. When I wake up to go to the bathroom, I don't look at the time.
Okay.
Because I don't want to see, like I wake up at 4 o'clock, right around 4.
Yeah.
I don't want to see 3:15 because I'm going to go back to bed either way. I'm going to go back to sleep and suck out every second of sleep I can get, right? And so I don't want to see what time. I don't want to see if it's 1 o'clock. I don't know. Want to know if it's 2. I don't know. I don't know if it's 3:15. I just ignore it. I walk past 3 clocks on the trip to the bathroom.
Not only do I have to know, I have one of those digital clocks that projects the time onto my ceiling so I can look right up from where I'm sleeping and see it. And
Interesting. I've never seen those.
And go right back to sleep. Yeah, there's a blue little digital 3:03 right there, and I go right back to sleep.
Do you feel like if you know, you sleep better?
Yeah. And
Maybe
there's
I'll
nothing
sleep better
better.
if
The best feeling you get if you go, because we go to bed. I mean, generally we morning folk, radio people, and the three of us here. I know we all go to bed pretty early.
Yeah,
I'll get into bed some nights as early as 7:30, and be dead asleep. And I wake up, and my first feeling is like, oh man, I feel great. And I look at the ceiling, and it's only 10:45, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's the greatest feeling in the world, man. Yeah, Rosemary and I were in a hotel last year, and they had this little tiny digital clock in the ceiling. It just blasted the time on the ceiling, and I was like, it's so silly. They've existed for years. I was like, that's the greatest thing I've ever. Oh my God, I got to get one. And I go on Amazon, and I'm like, I bet it's going to cost like $300. It was $11.
What, it's $11?
Yeah, it's the cheapest thing ever.
Greatest. Is it a bright light or just enough to see it?
No, you can dim it. You can work with it. You can make it big, little. The numbers can be tiny. They can be big. They give you all kinds of options, baby.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Gorman in the morning with Fletcher and Ryder on Minnesota's 92 KQRS. Josh Freese, the drummer, never played with the Wallflowers as far as I can tell, but that's like the only band he's not been in.
Okay, besides Foos, who else has he played with?
He's been in a band called the Vandals since 1989.
Oh, I know some Vandals.
Always in the Vandals. Mm-hmm. A Perfect Circle.
Okay.
Devo since 1996. Anytime Devo's ever toured, he's their drummer.
I didn't know that.
A 2-year stint with Guns N' Roses. He's toured with Paul Westerberg a lot and recorded with Paul Westerberg. 9 Inch Nails, Weezer, Sting. Toured with Sting for years. Wow. The Offspring, Danny Elfman. I mean, he is as much of a like Kenny Aronoff, the bald guy that played with John Mellencamp in the 80s and who has played with a million people. Like, those two guys are the people you see with more bands, more artists across the board. Like, that's who Josh Freese is.
I'm shocked he had time for the Foo Fighters. I mean, look at this list.
Well, the truth is, they don't go out and play, 100 shows a year. They're so big. Yeah. They're just doing stadiums. It's more like 20 gigs a year. And he was able to still do other things, but they brought him in. And, it seemed 2 years ago was a match made in heaven.
Is that a tell on his ability, his versatility, like that many different to work with that many different artists? Is that
but it's also an indicator that he's a super pro, shows up, learns his stuff. There's a lot of guys that could play all that type of music. A lot of those guys aren't nearly I know Josh. He's just direct. Hey man, how you doing? Good to see you. What do you need? You tell him 8 a.m. He's there at 7:45. He's just a pro's pro.
Oh man, how do I get him on this show?
Yeah. It was when he got the gig, it was one of those, like, in the drumming community at the very least, everybody's like, well, yeah, that totally checks out. I mean, of course the Foo Fighters are going to get Josh Freese. And 2 years after they hired him, they dumped him a week ago. Wow. And now he's the kind of guy, when he posted on Instagram that he had been released from duty, when they said he quoted, they said they want to go in a different direction. And he said, in my 40 years, I've never lost a gig. I've never been fired. So he goes, I'm not sad. I'm disappointed. It's like, he'll be fine. He's probably already booked 3 tours since this happened.
I mean, for him to say I've never been fired, keep in mind he did a stint with the GNR. If you can survive that and not be fired.
He's done. Well, hey, man, I'm sure Sting ain't no picnic. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, good call.
He looks up at, Sting wakes up in the middle of the night, looks at the stars and goes, I need a change. Who knows? So anyway, Josh said he speculated maybe I'm going to give you the top 10 reasons why I got fired. And then he went ahead and did just that.
Damn.
He posted yesterday the top 10 possible reasons I got booted from the Foos.
I love a good bit.
Number 10. Once whistled My Hero for a week solid on tour. That's pretty good. 9. I could only name one Fugazi song. That's good.
The waiting room.
2 words. Polyrhythms. Polyrhythms.
Directly over my head.
It's a drum. It's like really, really complicated drum stuff that like nobody in their right mind would ever ask you to play.
Maybe that's why he got fired, making snobby drummer jokes.
See, that's it. Number 7, metronome-like precision behind the kit, deemed, in quotes, soulless. Number 6, demanded starting every rehearsal with a 20-minute cowbell sound bath. Okay.
That's fair. Yeah. I like that.
I like number 5, never even once tried growing a beard.
There we go.
That's a good one.
He couldn't, because he would have definitely upstaged Dave Grohl's gnarly beard. That thing's awful.
That's number 4, and this is where he's probably referencing Sting. Didn't show up to the studio because Mercury was in retrograde. Number 3, promised Noodles. Noodles is the guitarist of The Offspring, by the way. Another band Josh Freese has played with. Promised Noodles he could be 4th guitarist.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's good. Well. 2, refused to perform unless he was guaranteed a Ouija board and nunchucks after every show. Okay.
I mean, who doesn't refuse to do that?
Number 1, the whole poodle thing was getting to be a bit much. He posts a lot of photos of his poodles.
That checks out right there.
Yeah. But either way, hey, he's having fun with it. You know what? Let's get him on the show next week. Let's see if he wants to come clean with us.
Yes. If I can get him here at 5:55, I'll be happy.
All right, we'll do it.
That'd be great.
I'll hit him up. I'll see if he wants to yammer with us.
That'd be great.
I figured give him a couple days because it's obviously still a bit of a...
Wait, do you really know him?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, then, let's get him on this week.
Yeah. What is it, Tuesday?
As he is available, we will have him on the show. We will be very accommodating.
Well, I'm just saying, let's not wait till next week. Let's check it out now.
He's on the West Coast. I'm not going to text him at 5:36 a.m.
Yeah, don't do that. Party foul.
I'll wait a little bit.
Okay.
I'll wait a little while.
It can be after the show.
It'd be awful if this was the one night he forgot to turn his ringer off. I don't want to wake the guy up. He just got fired, for God's sakes.
Well, he's got nothing else to do.
He's got plenty of other things to do.
He's like the one guy that's unemployed that's got 40 other jobs.
When he posted he'd been fired, Stuart Copeland commented on his Instagram feed. Stuart Copeland, police drummer, said, "This is great news for the other 5 bands you're in right now." That's just how he is. We were discussing earlier rules that we have that we abide by. Rules we may have made up as kids or that someone taught us. Those weird things you just don't ever quite shake.
Right.
651-989-ROCK on the KQ Talking text line. Here's a good one. Mac D wrote in, dad's thing. So this is his dad's thing. Okay. The point of the pie is the last bite you eat. Mm-hmm. He cuts off the point first. He cuts off the point first thing and pushes it to the side, saying, quote, even if you aren't going to finish the serving, the point has to be the last thing eaten.
I do that too.
Really?
Yeah, because it's like I don't cut it off and set it to the side, but you always finish the point last because it's the best tasting part of the piece.
Oh, wait, are you starting at the crust?
Yeah.
So you go in crust first?
I saved that crust for last, man.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Crust first.
Same.
The point is the best tasting part. Mac D, I'm with your dad.
Mac D continues. Mom's thing. When passing her the salt, it has to be set down for her to pick it up herself. Under no circumstances would she take it from your hand.
Is your mom a witch, Mac D? Like, what's happening here?
Over the years since, I've had friends call to tell me that they've subconsciously adopted those traits too, just from hearing me recount those stories a long time ago.
Yeah. Again, Dad is on to something with the pie. That's totally true.
That's pretty great. I like that one. Dano texted in, when walking into a room, pictures that are not level drive me crazy. Okay, now we're working on OCD actions a little bit.
Yeah.
But by the way, I am with you there, brother. Never gotten over that one.
Yep.
And when you
don't come to my house.
When you've got, when the ceiling line isn't level, like sometimes you see a painting or a photograph that's level on the wall, but not level compared to the ceiling. I got to really spend a minute with that. I have a small level at the house for all times to check out. Make sure I'm not losing my mind.
And here's the thing: in certain houses, the crease, if you will, from the wall to the ceiling,
that's what I mean.
Isn't even.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so your pictures will be even, but the space, okay. I was looking at something while you were saying that, so I wasn't fully paying attention.
Dano wrote, pictures that are not level drive me crazy. Working on a person's house, replacing windows, I saw a fairly large picture that was uneven. Just barely touched it to straighten, and it crashed to the ground and shattered everywhere.
Oh, no.
And, of course, it had huge sentimental as well as monetary value. I learned to pick my battles after that. That's
smart.
Good.
That's smart. Yeah.
Yes.
That's a rough one. Sorry to hear it, but I relate to the struggle, man. Yeah. Rosemary and I sold a house many, many years ago, and a realtor brought in somebody to see it, and it was an old house and there was an uneven floor.
Yeah.
And the buyer, not our guy, the buyer's agent walked in, and we were still there. We were leaving. Like, okay, we'll get out of your way.
Yeah.
And this guy walked in the house, and he, like, as if he had an attack of vertigo, he just went, oh, these floors. And I was like, dude, you're a realtor. You should get another line of work. It really threw him. And it was not bad. It was just a little off. It's like the settling of a 110-year-old house. Not that big a deal.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking, like, man, that's pretty good. Jake wrote, when I'm playing cards, I won't pick up mine until the dealer has grabbed theirs, or I think it's bad luck. All right.
Is that real?
I'll go with that one. Sure, why not?
Okay.
If it's real to Jake, then it's real.
There you go.
And Jake is a trauma nurse, so he would know.
Oh, fair enough. Wow. Thanks, Jake. Nice job. Mm-hmm. It is time to play a game, and we've got Offspring tickets on the table.
All right.
But first things first, we're going to play a little WTF. We call it Wisconsin, Texas, Florida.
Yes.
So I've found some stories. I'm going to play a little audio for everybody here, and then the job is you tell me if this story happened in Wisconsin, did it happen in Texas, or did it happen in Florida?
Quick question.
Yep.
Is it one from each, or could they be from anywhere?
They could be from anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah. Mixing it up.
Mixing it up.
It's elevated the difficulty level.
It could easily be from one from each. It could easily be all three from the same. These are the chances we take here.
Yeah.
All right.
On WTF.
Like I said, at first we made sure it was one of each, but now as we've done it a few weeks, time to raise the difficulty level a little.
The first story we're going to get to, a little troubling incident. A boyfriend and girlfriend discussing their wedding. possibly where they should get married, and then there's a little knife play, and then suddenly you have a stabbing.
Oh, that'll happen.
A woman is charged for stabbing her boyfriend over a wedding venue. 22-year-old Kaylee Branter is charged with first-degree reckless injury. The incident happened last Wednesday. Now, according to the criminal complaint, officers went to a home in for a domestic incident. A victim says he was stabbed in the neck by his girlfriend. He says they had a disagreement about possibly using their house as a wedding venue, and she attacked him without warning. She used a knife. Detectives say he had 4 injuries. The victim admitted to hitting Branter. Fox 6 reaching out to the victim today, but he said he did not want to talk to us about the case.
No, probably not.
Do we know if they went through with the marriage? Because I think that'll change my answer.
You think that's going to impact
We don't have that information available,
Okay.
I'm sorry to say.
Flying blind here.
Flying blind.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so somebody wanted to have the wedding at the house.
At the house.
I feel like somebody was trying to,
Cheap out?
Yes, very much cheap out.
Limit the budget, yeah. And True Love responded with a knife.
That's right.
So there's one.
If he loved her, he would have booked the palace
See,
or
that's
whatever
what it is.
was.
That's exactly
Okay.
right.
All right.
Or that Airbnb private jet.
Forget the honeymoon. We're all about the venue for the wedding.
That's right.
Okay. So
All right.
there's one. How about
Stabbing over the wedding at the house.
How about number 2? A gentleman decided for whatever reason he needed to poison his nemesis. His nemesis turned out to not be who or what you may be expecting.
A mighty oak tree carrying the weight of history. Here for 600 years on a plot of land on Baylor Street in busy downtown. This is the Treaty Oak, so named because historians say treaties between Native American tribes and the were signed underneath its towering branches so long ago. But not so long ago, this tree nearly died. There was an outpouring of concern across and beyond for the tree that was suffering.
The people of responded, with outrage and love, and people came here and prayed and dropped off, the chicken soup and that sort of money. They left money, crystals.
Police arrested Paul Stedman Cullen.
It came out in trial that he was in love with his counselor at his methadone clinic. He drew a magic circle at the base of the tree, and it would put in something or his burned love or whatever. And so as that tree would die, so would his love or her die. And so it was like a magic ritual or some sort of spell or something like that.
That all makes tons of sense.
Poisoning the mighty oak tree.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. All because of his counselor at the methadone clinic was spurning his love, and he decided this would be helpful.
I'm still
Take it
stuck
out on the tree.
Yeah, I'm still stuck on people thought they could cure the tree by bringing chicken soup and crystals and cash.
And cash.
You could cure me with those things anytime I'm sick. I mean, make no mistake about it. If I'm under the weather, bring me soup and cash every time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just dumbfounded by
All
the
right,
whole thing.
all right. So that's 2.
Good Lord.
Okay.
So we've got the poisoning the oak tree. Now, for our final story today, Wisconsin, Texas, or Florida. This is a good old standard. I always love these. A friendly woman doing her part to assist in law enforcement.
This woman is accused of pretending to be a police officer.
Police say she flashed a badge and gave a man a written traffic warning over a parking spot in a Walmart parking lot. Fox 35's Randy Hildreth is live in County. Randy, good evening. It turns out that the badge she had was real.
Yes, that badge was real, but they also say that badge was not hers. And tonight she faces multiple charges for her alleged actions.
Police say this woman, Alexis Rosati, was playing cop and got busted. It started after a customer parked in the courtesy law enforcement parking spot at the Walmart on Clyde Morris Boulevard. Police say she gave the customer a fake traffic warning written on notebook paper. They say she took it a step further by flashing a badge they now believe she swiped. Retired law enforcement say suspects accused of crimes like this are looking for power.
Individual thought she had some sort of authority, even though it was bestowed upon herself.
They say report the encounter to a real law enforcement official as soon as possible.
Even though it was bestowed upon herself. I love that guy's wording. I love when people get interviewed and they always use words they would never use in normal life.
Yeah, in a normal conversation.
Bestowed upon herself.
Yeah.
All right,
so she stole the badge because she wanted to use the law enforcement free parking spot at the Walmart.
Yes. And then when someone else took it, she wrote a parking ticket on a piece of notebook paper.
Hopefully it was straight hole punch.
So you've got we got 3 stories. We got a woman pretending to be a cop. We got a man poisoning a tree, and we've got a bride-to-be stabbing her groom-to-be over the wedding venue conversation.
And we don't know if they got married or not.
We don't know.
Okay.
But there's your 3 stories. We want to hear from you. If anybody can guess accurately all 3 of these locations, then you will have Offspring tickets. 651-989-ROCK.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Gorman in the morning. 92 KQRS is the station. That's the show in the station. The game is Wisconsin, Texas, Florida. We've already shared 3 stories with you, and we do believe we found someone who has cracked the code correctly. So we're gonna get your votes first, Ryder and Paul. I'm gonna see what you guys think these happened, and then our buddy Donald from St. Paul is gonna let us know what's really going on out there. So the first story that I shared a criminal complaint about a woman stabbing her fiance in the neck.
Yikes.
After an argument over where these 2 lovers should be betrothed, should be married. Ryder, where do you think that happened?
I believe in a thing called love, and I'm going to say they did get married, and that's only crazy enough to happen in Florida.
Wow. Okay. All right. Paul Fletcher, your thoughts?
I feel a small town vibe in this story and a silly sweetness, if you will. I'm going to go with Wisconsin.
Donald from St. Paul, what's the right answer, sir?
Wisconsin.
That's it. That's it. Bam.
Then I'm going to go with they didn't get married.
Then they did not get married. Yes.
Okay.
All right. We'll follow up with that one. All right. The second story. A man decided to poison a hearty, centuries-old oak tree, hoping to break the spell of cursed love. It was very bizarre.
Yeah.
Who's poisoning oak trees? What state are we in, Ryder?
I am going to say it's mostly because people thought the crystals were going to heal the tree. I'm going to go with Florida again.
Okay, Florida again.
Yeah.
I actually wrote down all 3 states at one point while trying to crack the code on this thing.
Okay.
But we're talking about healing an oak tree. Mm-hmm. It's bananas.
Yeah.
It's got to be Florida.
I am happy to tell you both. It's the Donald? Texas, the Lone Star State. Damn.
It's the first thing I wrote down. Always trust your gut.
Always trust your gut. And so,
especially a gut like mine.
Third story, we've got a woman pretending to be a law enforcement officer. She's not. She's a fake cop. What do you think, Ryder?
I'm just going for the Florida trifecta today, and I'm going to stick with it. So Florida on this last one.
Lean in.
I'm going Florida on that one as well.
Don, what do we got?
Florida.
There it is, Florida.
All right.
We did use all 3 states. We did WTF in order. Wisconsin, Texas, Florida. You
nice
like how
work.
I did that?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And you
Very
know what?
crafty.
By clarifying that it could be any combination, it threw me off. Otherwise, I would have definitely nailed it. So well played, sir.
Well, listen, that's how that goes. Donald, you just won Offspring tickets. That's fantastic. The Offspring at the Target Center, August 15th. Holy smokes. Way to keep it going, fellas. All right, Donald, thanks for calling in, brother. Congratulations. Have a good night. For Feeling Minnesota, Paul Fletcher, what's happening?
Minnesotans love White Castle. It's official. The fast food chain known for its iconic sliders recently inducted 14 devoted fans into its Cravers Hall of Fame at a ceremony in Columbus, Ohio. Not only is there a Cravers Hall of Fame, but there's a ceremony. 5 of the 14 are from Minnesota.
Okay.
Yeah, be proud. Yeah, the ceremony has been held each year since 2001 to recognize, quote, its most zealous fans. Among the inductees are Don Graffam of Shoreview, who said, quote, many of his fondest memories involve White Castle. Sean Rucker of St. Paul, who has been, quote, instrumental in making White Castle a staple of his office's weekly lunches. And the final 3 are Minneapolis brothers Gary and Denny Schwartz and their friend Steve Upman of Plymouth. started an annual tradition, a slider eating competition they dubbed the White Castle Eating Derby. It takes place every Saturday before Thanksgiving since 1967.
Wow.
I mean, that's amazing.
That's pretty strong.
Mr. Ryder is going to want an invite to this White Castle eating derby thing. He loves White Castle.
I wonder how many they're throwing down at the Derby. I mean, back in their heyday.
He could easily do a 3 crave cases. I'm putting him on. Yes. Last summer, he ordered a bunch for the neighbors and had DoorDash bring it by when we were out drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was delighted. Everybody wanted a slider. And one of our neighbors repaid us back with a bundle of kale.
Oh, boy. Yeah,
wow,
sure.
From
that's
his
good.
garden.
Nice.
Great.
Yeah. Thanks, Alex, but that's not quite the same thing, bud.
No, not quite.
Exactly.
Well, you know what? Hit up Gary and Denny Schwartz and Steve Upman if they're listening. Maybe they can get Mr. Ryder in on their
the Derby
shenanigans. Yeah.
Game on.
If you find yourself traveling in the southeastern part of the United States and see a Crystal Burger, that's the southern version of White Castle.
Oh, okay.
Founded in Chattanooga about 10 years after White Castle. And, of course, I had Crystals for years. The first time I saw White Castle, I was like, they're ripping off Crystal. And then someone looked at me and said, bite your forked tongue. You're ripping off White Castle. Wow. Yeah.
The Alice in Chains had to obviously cancel their tour because of Sean Kenny's health. But that hasn't stopped Jerry Cantrell. He's going to go out on a solo tour late summer to support his latest album, I Want Blood. Cantrell and opening act Filter will kick things off August 16th in San Diego. And there will be a stop here in the Twin Cities. September 12th at the Uptown Theater. There are pre-sales starting today. Otherwise, tickets go on sale Thursday.
Wow, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. And last but not least, Sesame Street will live on thanks to Netflix. Netflix has jumped in and saved the Sesame Street Day, which has struck a deal for new episodes. Until recently, Sesame Workshop was in business with Warner Brothers Discovery. Under that deal, the episodes wouldn't air on PBS until months after their debut on HBO and Max, which is soon to be known again as HBO Max, as it should be. But now, new episodes of Sesame Street will air on PBS the same day that they hit Netflix. Sesame Street will begin its 56th season later this year.
I'm all for it.
I am too.
They already know how to count to 10. Just play the same Sesame Streets over and over again.
New kids need new approaches. They need new bits. They need new characters.
Yeah, you need new camera angles.
Real
it's
demanding.
Gotta be, yeah, come on, man. I mean, you look at that old footage from the 70s and 80s. It looks like newsreel footage from the Wright brothers' first flight, for crying out loud.
They're classics.
I know they're good for us, but if you're a kid, if you're born in 2020 and you turn on Sesame Street right now, you don't want some retread from the 80s.
No, you can't beat that 12 song. You guys, I'll play it later. You guys will know what I'm talking about.
At 5 years old, they don't care about what Sesame Street said in 1985.
That's
just wouldn't even pay attention.
6 strawberry shortcakes. It's always my favorite. I love that poor bastard falling down the stairs with the tasty delicacies. Mm-hmm. It's good stuff. The Minnesota Twins had a rain delay yesterday and then a rain postponement. They will play the end of yesterday's game today at 5:10, and then they will follow with the regularly scheduled Tuesday game about 30 minutes after that first game is concluded. They are sitting on a 2-1 lead through 3. So they got 6 innings of baseball at least, followed by a full game tonight at Target Field.
All right.
The big story over the weekend, St. Paul Saints' Carson McCusker was called up to the big leagues for the first time. He is 6 feet 8 inches tall, and he weighs 250 pounds, and he hits balls real far. And if this team makes a run through the summer, and if they're in the hunt in the fall, and he's hitting the bat, he's going to be a sensation. I mean, he's as big as Aaron Judge, and he hits the ball just like him. And it would be cool for the Twins to have a kid like that getting a lot of attention.
Yeah. It would.
It's crazy. So keep your eyes. It's hard not to keep your eyes on him. He's as I said, he's a Yeti. The Timberwolves tip off tonight at 7:30 against OKC. They are in Oklahoma City, as of course the Thunder are the number 1 seed. 68-14 regular season record. That's the 7th best ever. And this is a team who, when the season started, was the youngest team by average age in the entire league. Mm-hmm. So it'd be great to knock them out now because they're only going to get better as they get older. The Thunder are one of those teams built. It's an embarrassment of riches. They are the deepest team in the league. It's going to be tough. We can do it, but it's going to be very difficult. The Pacers and Knicks start the Eastern Conference Finals tomorrow night. A Pacers fan left Madison Square Garden Friday night after the Knicks eliminated the Celtics. He was wearing a Pacers jersey.
Okay.
Fans saw him on the street and started throwing garbage at him. There were big, giant bags of garbage that had already been bagged and closed off, and they were picking them up over their heads and hitting them. It didn't hurt him, and he was like, yeah. I mean, he played it off, but he walked away from the throng, and then they followed him, and it was a viral video. Everybody had their phones out watching a Pacers fan hit with garbage. That went viral. The Indiana Pacers saw it, and the entire team was like, let's find out who that guy is. That guy is a firefighter in New York and a lifelong Pacers fan, and he will be the Pacers' special guest at Game 4 in Indianapolis.
Good for Indianapolis.
Tyrese Halliburton got on the phone with him and said, I'm bringing you in, bro.
All right.
We need you.
You know what? Be careful who you throw trash at, because it could be a firefighter.
It's very true.
Mm-hmm.
Of all the people to throw trash at.
Not a firefighter, especially if your house burns down a couple weeks later.
Okay, are garbage men okay? Can we throw trash at the garbage men or not so much?
I'm not putting limits on...
They're better suited to handle it.
Yeah. I'm not putting limits on who you should and shouldn't necessarily. I'm just saying, don't throw trash at firefighters. It's not good karma.
Lakeville, Minnesota. Speaking of good karma.
Mm-hmm. The city that boasts over 70 parks, more than 142 miles of pedestrian bike trails, and over 1,800 acres of public park, and one rider.
Yeah, take that, Apple Valley.
Bang! Lakeville, Minnesota. Glad to have you with us this morning. We do appreciate you joining us.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Gorman in the morning with Fletcher and Ryder on Minnesota's 92 KQRS. We have had a fine morning so far.
Yeah.
There's still time. I'm not kidding. I'm not making this up. There's still time, Ryder.
Oh, yeah.
For the last word.
Okay,
Right.
good.
Here it is. The United States used to have way more time zones than we do now. In fact, in the early 1800s, cities, towns, regions could set their own time zones based on the sun, whatever they needed. At one point, there were 144 separate time zones in the continental United States.
All right. So it was literally 5 o'clock somewhere.
It was always 5 o'clock somewhere. That's exactly right.
Yes.
And what helped us all get down to 4 time zones? The railroads. Actually, they were responsible for it.
Oh.
They were like, hey, we can't do this. We got to get it straight. There was a head-on collision, 2 trains, because the conductors they were on the same track at the same time, but they were operating from different clocks because they came from different time zones.
Don't make me do an algebra problem.
Yeah, man.
Come on.
I was going to say moving faster is probably what lessened the time zones, because you don't need as many.
All that to say, good job, Railroad.
Yeah, thank you, Railroad, for straightening all that out, please.
Tomorrow on this show, we're going to play a game called Beat the Jock. It's a fun game, and we're going to be doing it for a very good reason, to give away Pixies tickets. Oh, sweet.
Yeah, those are good tickets to have.
And we're also going to have somebody from the Minnesota Frost, Paul Fletcher.
Yes, Miss Taylor Heisey. You can call her Minnesota Frost superstar.
Yeah, that'll be great.
She's carrying the mail just about every single game for that team.
Right on. That's great. What's coming up next, my friend?
I've got garbage tickets 12:30, Mission Impossible movie passes at 1:30. Listen for text keywords, plus all kinds of awesome music and stuff.
Wow. Ask a question and get a good answer. Right on.
All right.
We'll see you tomorrow, Gorman in the morning on Minnesota's 92 KQRS.
Gorman in the morning is also Gorman on the go. Get the 92 KQRS app and stream live, or catch the Gorman in the morning podcast anytime. 92 KQRS.